Have you ever felt like your heart is shattered into a million pieces? Like the pain is too much to bear, and no matter how much time passes, it just won't heal? Why does it hurt so much when someone we care about breaks our heart? Is there a way to stop this pain, or do we just have to live with it forever? What if the path to healing was simpler than we think? What if the ancient teachings of Buddhism could offer the answers to help us find peace and move forward? Let's imagine this. You're walking down a quiet path, surrounded by trees. Suddenly, a branch snaps off from one of them and falls to the ground. At first, it's just a small break, but over time, the branch begins to wither. You may think this is the end for it, but the tree, the soil, and the sun all work together to bring new life. Just like that branch, our hearts may break, but with the right wisdom, time, and care, healing is possible. It's not the end. It's a chance for renewal. Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we explore ancient wisdom for modern lives. In today's video, we will look at how Buddhism can guide us through the difficult journey of heartbreak. You'll discover valuable insights and transformative advice that will not only help you heal, but also grow stronger in the process. So, if you've ever felt lost in your sorrow, this is the video for you. Stay with us as we unravel the path to peace. But before we dive deep, here's something important. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So please, take a moment to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel. This small action means the world to us and helps us bring you more insightful content. Now, let's begin our journey together. In this video, we'll explore what Buddhist teachings have to say about heartbreak. How can we find strength in the face of pain? What wisdom can help us heal our wounded hearts? Let's start by looking at the very nature of heartbreak and how Buddhism offers a way to find peace in the storm. Understanding heartbreak, a Buddhist perspective. When your heart feels broken, it's as though a heavy cloud has settled over you. You may feel like something inside you is lost or missing. It's a kind of pain that seems impossible to avoid, as if it comes from deep within, from a place that words can never fully explain. In moments like these, we often ask ourselves, why is this happening? Why does it hurt so much? And how can we ever move past this feeling? Buddhism offers a perspective on suffering that may help us see heartbreak not as an enemy, but as a teacher. According to the Buddha, suffering is a natural part of life. It is not something to be feared or avoided. In fact, the Buddha taught that suffering, or dukkha, is part of the human condition. It is the pain we feel when life doesn't go the way we expect, when our desires are unfulfilled, or when we experience loss. Heartbreak, in its essence, is a form of this suffering. But here's the key. The Buddha also taught that suffering is not permanent. It's not something that we have to live with forever. There is a way to overcome it, a way to move through it, and even to grow from it. The first step is understanding that pain, in itself, is not the problem. It's our relationship with pain that shapes how we experience it. You see, much of our suffering comes from our attachments. In Buddhism, attachment is not about love or care, but about clinging to something that we think we cannot live without. When we attach ourselves to people, possessions, or ideas, we begin to believe that our happiness depends on them. So, when something we are attached to is lost or changes, it feels as if part of us is being taken away. This is especially true in matters of the heart. When someone we love no longer loves us, or when a relationship ends, it can feel as if a part of ourselves has been torn away. However, this pain is not a punishment. It is an opportunity to learn. Heartbreak is a reminder that we have been holding on too tightly. Buddhism teaches us that everything in life is impermanent. Nothing stays the same forever, not even our emotions. The feelings of sadness, anger, or confusion you may be experiencing right now will pass. The key is to not hold on to them, but to let them move through you like passing clouds in the sky. Buddhism teaches that the root of our suffering is craving, our desire for things to be different than they are. When we expect things to always go our way, or when we imagine that our happiness depends on a person, a situation, or a result, we set ourselves up for disappointment. This is where heartbreak comes in. When we invest too much of ourselves in something that is outside of our control, like a relationship or a person's feelings, we are setting ourselves up for heartache. So, what does Buddhism suggest we do when our hearts are broken? The first step is to recognize that we are suffering, but also to remember that suffering is not forever. It's just a part of the human experience. The next step is to begin to let go of our attachments, to stop holding so tightly to the idea of how things should be. In Buddhist practice, this is often referred to as the practice of non-attachment. Non-attachment doesn't mean not caring or not loving. It means not clinging. It means allowing yourself to love fully, but without the expectation that the other person or the situation will give you lasting happiness. In this way, heartbreak becomes a powerful tool for personal growth. When we can let go of the need to control the outcome of a relationship or a situation, we free ourselves from the pain that comes with attachment. We stop living in the illusion that our happiness is dependent on someone else's love or approval. Instead, we begin to cultivate inner peace, a peace that comes from within ourselves, not from external circumstances. Buddhism also teaches us the importance of mindfulness in healing our hearts. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. It's easy to get caught up in thoughts about the past or worries about the future, especially when we are in pain. We might replay conversations or events in our minds, wishing we could change the outcome. But the more we focus on what happened, the more we keep ourselves trapped in the past. Similarly, worrying about what will happen in the future only adds to our anxiety. Instead, mindfulness invites us to focus on the present moment, just as it is. When you feel your heart breaking, take a moment to pause and breathe. Allow yourself to feel the pain without trying to escape it or change it. It's okay to feel sad, to feel angry, to feel confused. These emotions are a natural part of being human, but by practicing mindfulness, you can begin to accept them without letting them control you. You can sit with the discomfort, knowing that it will pass, and in the process, you will learn to become more at peace with yourself and the world around you. Another powerful teaching from Buddhism is the practice of compassion, not just for others, but also for yourself. When your heart is broken, it's easy to fall into self-blame. You may ask yourself, what did I do wrong? Or why wasn't I enough? But Buddhism teaches that we are all worthy of love and kindness, regardless of our mistakes or shortcomings. Self-compassion is about treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding that you would offer to a friend in pain. Instead of judging yourself for your feelings, try to embrace them with tenderness and patience. When we practice self-compassion, we begin to heal from the inside out. We stop looking for validation from others and start finding peace within ourselves. It's not about forgetting the pain or pretending it doesn't hurt. It's about acknowledging the pain without letting it define who we are. You are not your heartbreak. You are not your pain. You are a being of light, capable of healing and transformation. Finally, Buddhism teaches us that all of our experiences, both painful and joyful, are opportunities for growth. Heartbreak is no different. It's a difficult lesson, but it is a lesson nonetheless. Through our pain, we can learn to be more compassionate, more mindful, and more aware of the impermanence of life. We can learn to let go of attachments and to embrace the ebb and flow of our emotions without becoming overwhelmed by them. In this way, heartbreak becomes a pathway to greater wisdom and peace. The Buddhist teachings are not about avoiding pain, but about learning to navigate it with grace and understanding. Heartbreak, like all suffering, is a part of life, but it doesn't have to define us. By looking at it through the lens of Buddhism, we can transform our pain into an opportunity for growth and healing. As you continue on your journey, remember this: healing takes time, and that's okay. Be patient with yourself. Allow yourself to feel all of your emotions, but also remember that you are not alone. The teachings of Buddhism are here to guide you, to help you find peace within the storm. And as you heal, you will find that your heart grows stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. So, take a deep breath and know that even in the darkest moments, there is always the possibility of renewal. Impermanence, embracing the nature of change. When the heart breaks, it feels as though the world around us stops. The pain can feel endless, as if it will stay with us forever. We think, how can I move forward? How can I heal? In these moments, it's easy to forget that nothing in life is truly permanent. Everything around us is constantly changing, shifting, and evolving. This is the teaching of impermanence in Buddhism. Impermanence is one of the core teachings of the Buddha. It is the understanding that all things, our emotions, our relationships, our circumstances, are in a constant state of flux. Nothing lasts forever. This includes the pain you're feeling right now. Just as your heart broke in the first place, it will also heal in time. But to heal, we must first accept this truth. Nothing lasts. Not even the pain. Imagine, for a moment, a wave in the ocean. It rises high, powerful and intense, but as soon as it peaks, it starts to fall. It crashes, and then it fades back into the sea, disappearing as if it was never there. Just like this wave, your heartache, no matter how overwhelming, will pass. The key is to let it move through you, without holding on, without trying to resist it. When you resist, the wave grows stronger. It becomes a force you cannot control. But when you accept that it will rise, reach its peak, and then fall, you allow yourself to move with it, rather than against it. Now, let's pause and think about the natural world around us. Look at the seasons. They change, and we cannot stop them. Winter turns to spring. Spring gives way to summer. Summer fades into autumn. Every leaf that falls from a tree is a part of this cycle. Every flower that blooms eventually wilts. This is the nature of life. Things come and things go. But when we understand this cycle, we can learn to embrace it rather than fear it. In the same way, our emotions come and go. The pain you feel right now is not permanent. It is simply a part of the natural flow of life. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we cling to things, when we try to make them stay. We don't want to let go of what we love, but the more tightly we hold on, the more we suffer. It's like holding onto a hot stone. You won't make it cool by grasping it. Instead, you must let go, and only then will you find relief. When we understand impermanence, we begin to realize that the heartache we're experiencing is not a permanent part of who we are. It is simply a moment in time. Think of a storm in the sky. It may be dark and heavy for a while, but sooner or later, the clouds will part and the sun will shine again. The storm does not last forever. Neither will your pain. By accepting the impermanence of your emotions, you free yourself from the heavy weight of clinging to them. You begin to see that there is more to life than just this moment of hurt. There is space for healing, for new experiences, and for growth. The pain may have come, but so will joy. The grief will pass, and peace will find its way back to you. So, what can you do in this moment? While the pain feels so intense, you can allow yourself to simply be. You don't need to fix anything or push the pain away. Just sit with it for a moment. Notice how it feels in your body, in your heart. Recognize that it is temporary, that it too shall pass. When you stop resisting, the pain can soften. You begin to see it not as something to fight, but as something to accept, something to understand. When we think about change and impermanence, we might feel afraid. We fear what we cannot control. We fear the loss of what we love. But the Buddha teaches us that embracing impermanence is not something to fear. Instead, it's something to welcome. It's the way of the world. Just as we cannot stop the seasons from changing, we cannot stop the flow of life, the changes that come with it. Our lives are like rivers, flowing constantly. Some days the waters are calm and clear, while other days the river swells and roars. But in the end, the water always flows. This is the essence of life, movement, change, and the freedom that comes with it. We must also remember that impermanence brings the possibility of new beginnings. Just as the end of one season gives birth to the next, the end of a painful chapter in our lives opens the door to something new. You may feel like your heart has been shattered, but within the pieces of that heart is the potential for healing, for growth, and for a new kind of love. Love for yourself, love for the world around you, and love for the life that awaits you. Change may feel difficult, but it also brings with it the possibility of renewal. In Buddhism, we are reminded of the Four Noble Truths, the first being that suffering is a part of life. But the second truth teaches us that suffering is not permanent. There is a way to end it, and that way lies in understanding the nature of change. Through mindfulness, through meditation, and through wisdom, we can learn to see the impermanent nature of our pain and begin to move through it with grace. When you understand that your pain will not last forever, something powerful begins to shift inside of you. You stop identifying with the pain. You stop believing that it is who you are. It is simply something you are experiencing. It will pass, just as all things do. When you truly let go of the need to hold on to your suffering, you make space for healing to begin. This understanding of impermanence doesn't mean you should suppress your feelings or pretend that nothing hurts. It simply means that you don't have to cling to the pain. You don't have to carry it around forever. Allow yourself to feel it, but also know that it's just a part of your journey, not the whole story. Just as a wave crashes on the shore and eventually recedes, so will your heartache. In the end, impermanence teaches us freedom. Freedom from attachment, freedom from fear, and freedom from the idea that we can control everything. By accepting the flow of life, we allow ourselves to experience it more fully, without the burden of trying to make things stay the same. We learn to move with the current, rather than against it. The heart that has been broken can be mended, not by resisting the change, but by embracing it. So, the next time you feel your heart breaking, remember that it is not forever. This moment, this pain, will pass. It is just another wave in the ocean of life. And with each wave that passes, you will find yourself a little stronger, a little wiser, and a little more open to the beauty of the world around you. Trust in the flow of life, and know that you are not alone in this journey. You are part of the ever-changing cycle of life, and healing is always just around the corner. The role of attachment in suffering. As we sit in silence, let's reflect for a moment. Imagine your heart as a flower in full bloom. You care for it, you water it, and you protect it from the storms. Over time, you begin to believe that this flower is yours, that it will always be there. But what happens when a storm comes and the flower is blown away, or when someone you love decides to leave? The pain you feel is the result of your attachment, your belief that this flower, this person, should always remain in your life. In Buddhism, we learn that attachment is one of the primary causes of suffering. It is not the things we love or cherish that cause us pain, but our attachment to them. The more we cling to something, the more we expect it to stay, the deeper the suffering when it slips away from us. Let's think about attachment like holding tightly to a rope. You grip it with all your strength, convinced that it's the only thing that can save you. But what happens if the rope begins to fray? Or worse, if it breaks? You will feel the sharp pain of losing your grip, the loss of something you held onto so tightly. That is what attachment does. It makes us hold on to things or people with an intensity that blinds us to the truth. Everything is in constant change. Nothing in this world is permanent. In the case of heartbreak, attachment shows itself in the form of expectations. You expect a relationship to last forever. You expect a person to never leave, and you expect things to stay just as they are. But the truth is, change is the only constant in life. The more we hold on, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment when the inevitable changes occur. This is why the Buddha taught about the impermanence of all things. Everything, including our relationships, will one day change or come to an end. When we attach ourselves too strongly to someone or something, we create a false sense of security. We believe that our happiness depends on these external things. But in reality, happiness is not something that can be found outside of us. It is a state of mind that arises when we let go of attachment and open ourselves to the flow of life as it is. The pain you feel from heartbreak is the pain of attachment, of expecting things to stay the same when they never do. To break free from this pain, we must first acknowledge our attachments. Take a moment to reflect on the relationships or things that you hold most dear. Do you expect them to stay with you forever? Do you believe that without them, you cannot be happy or complete? This is the heart of attachment, and it is here, in this very belief, that suffering arises. Now, this doesn't mean that we stop caring for the people or things that we love. It doesn't mean that we must live a life without connection or love. No. In fact, Buddhism encourages us to love deeply and sincerely. But it teaches us to love without clinging, to love without expectations. True love, in the Buddhist sense, is free of attachment. It is the ability to love without the need to control, to possess, or to make things stay the same forever. Imagine if we could love without the fear of loss. What if, instead of expecting a relationship to last forever, we simply appreciated the time we had with that person? What if, instead of worrying about the future, we embraced the present moment with gratitude and joy? When we let go of attachment, we open ourselves to a deeper, more meaningful connection with others and with life itself. It is important to understand that letting go of attachment does not mean becoming cold or distant. In fact, it's quite the opposite. When we release our grip on attachment, we allow ourselves to experience a more authentic and unburdened love. We learn to appreciate others for who they truly are, without the need to control them or make them fit into our ideal image of how things should be. We allow them to be free, just as we seek freedom for ourselves. But how do we begin to let go? How do we start to free ourselves from the pain of attachment? The first step is mindfulness. Mindfulness teaches us to observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. When we feel the pain of heartbreak, we can pause and simply notice what is happening inside us. We don't need to rush to fix it or push it away. We just observe. By doing this, we create space between ourselves and the attachment. We begin to see the truth, that we are not our emotions, we are not our attachments. We are simply the observer. The second step is compassion. When we experience the pain of loss, it is easy to become angry or resentful. We may feel betrayed or hurt, but Buddhism teaches us to respond with compassion, both for ourselves and for others. The person who has broken your heart is also a human being, struggling with their own suffering. When we approach them with compassion, we release the hold that anger and resentment have on us. We let go of the need to blame and instead choose to heal. The third step is acceptance. Accept that change is a part of life. The more we fight against change, the more we suffer. But when we accept that life is impermanent, we begin to find peace. We learn to let go of our expectations and allow life to unfold as it will. This acceptance is not passive resignation, but an active embrace of the present moment, just as it is. The last step is gratitude. Even in the face of heartbreak, we can find something to be grateful for. Perhaps it was the love we shared, the lessons we learned, or the memories we created. By focusing on gratitude, we shift our attention from what we've lost to what we still have. This shift in perspective helps us release attachment and find peace amidst the pain. Remember, attachment is not inherently bad. It is a natural part of being human. But when we cling to it, when we expect things to stay the same, that's when we suffer. Letting go of attachment does not mean giving up on love. It means freeing ourselves from the fear of loss. It means embracing life as it comes, with all its joys and sorrows, knowing that everything is temporary. And in this freedom, we find the true peace that comes from within. So, the next time you find yourself suffering from heartbreak, take a deep breath and ask yourself, what am I attached to? Then, gently begin the process of letting go. It may take time, but with patience and mindfulness, you can release the grip that attachment has on you. And in doing so, you will find that your heart can heal, not by holding on to what was, but by embracing what is, right here, right now. Letting go, finding freedom and forgiveness. The heart is like a garden. When it is full of resentment, anger, or hurt, the flowers of peace, joy, and love cannot grow. These feelings are like weeds, creeping into the soil of your heart and choking everything that brings you light. Holding on to pain, bitterness, or revenge can keep us trapped in a cycle that prevents us from moving forward. The key to freedom is letting go. But what does it mean to truly let go? Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean that what happened to you is okay, or that it did not matter. Letting go is not about excusing the actions of others. Instead, it is about freeing yourself from the heavy burden of carrying pain that no longer serves you. When you hold on to anger or hurt, you are not punishing the person who hurt you. You are only hurting yourself over and over again. Like carrying a heavy stone in your hands, the weight does not affect the person who threw it. It affects you. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about non-attachment. Attachment is the root of much of our suffering. We become attached to people, to outcomes, to expectations, and when those things are taken from us or change, we feel lost. It is in this attachment that our pain resides. But the truth is, nothing in this world is permanent. Everything is in a state of constant change. People come and go, situations shift, and our emotions ebb and flow. When we try to cling to things, we suffer. When we let go, we are freed. Think of a river. The water flows continuously, never holding on to the past. It moves forward, always, without hesitation. If the river held on to every drop of water it had ever carried, it would stagnate and become polluted. But it does not. It flows, clean and fresh, letting each moment pass away so the next can come. The same is true for your heart. When you let go of past hurts, your heart is like that river. It flows with new possibilities, new experiences, and new love. Forgiveness is the act of letting go. It is a decision, not a feeling. You may not feel like forgiving someone right away, and that's okay. The process of forgiveness can take time. But when you choose to forgive, you release yourself from the grip of past pain. You allow yourself to heal. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It is for you. It is an act of self-love and self-care. It is the key to freedom. Sometimes, the hardest part of letting go is forgiving ourselves. We may hold on to guilt or regret, believing that we somehow caused the heartbreak or that we did not do enough. But forgiveness begins with self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. Understand that, like all beings, you are not perfect. You are learning, growing, and evolving with every experience. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you made, and allow yourself to move forward with an open heart. Letting go also means releasing expectations. We often expect things to go a certain way, and when they don't, we feel disappointed or heartbroken. But life does not follow a set plan. It is filled with surprises, some beautiful, some painful. When you stop clinging to expectations, you allow life to unfold as it will, without resistance. This does not mean you stop caring or stop hoping. It means you embrace what is, and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if it doesn't make sense in the moment. One of the most powerful ways to practice letting go is through meditation. In the stillness of meditation, we can observe our thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. We can watch them come and go, like clouds drifting across the sky. This practice teaches us that our emotions do not define us. They are simply passing through. In time, the storm of heartbreak will pass, and the sun will shine again. You may wonder, how do I begin to let go? It seems so difficult. Start with small steps. Each time you feel the pain rise within you, take a deep breath and remind yourself, this is just a feeling. It will pass. Gently acknowledge the pain, but do not hold on to it. Just let it be and let it go. It may take time, but every time you practice this, you will feel a little lighter, a little freer. Buddhism teaches us that suffering is a natural part of life, but it also teaches us that we do not have to hold on to suffering. We can let it go. We can learn to live with an open heart, free from the burdens of the past. The more we let go, the more we make room for peace, love, and joy to enter our lives. There is a beautiful teaching in Buddhism known as the Eightfold Path, which provides practical steps for overcoming suffering. One of the steps is right intention, the intention to live with kindness, compassion, and wisdom. When we set this intention in our hearts, we begin to see the world in a new light. We realize that holding on to grudges, bitterness, or resentment only clouds our vision and keeps us trapped in a cycle of pain. But when we choose forgiveness, we choose freedom. If you are holding on to a wound, ask yourself, what would it feel like to let it go? Imagine the weight lifting off your chest, the lightness returning to your heart. Imagine walking forward, free from the chains of the past. This is what forgiveness can offer you. It is the gift you give yourself. Remember, letting go is not easy. It takes time, patience, and practice. But with each step, you will find that your heart opens a little more. The more you let go, the more peace and happiness you will find within yourself. You will discover that your heart is strong, resilient, and capable of loving again. In the end, letting go is an act of liberation. It is a way of saying, I am no longer bound by the past. I am free to create a new future. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you make space for new opportunities, new relationships, and new growth. Your heart becomes a vessel for love, compassion, and joy. So, take a deep breath and let go. Trust that in doing so, you are creating the space for healing, for peace, and for a brighter tomorrow. You do not need to carry the weight of your pain forever. You can let it go, and in doing so, you will discover the freedom that comes from living with an open, forgiving heart. Meditation, cultivating inner peace. Imagine your mind as a calm lake, smooth and clear, with not a single ripple to disturb its surface. Now, imagine that every thought, every emotion, every worry you carry is like a stone thrown into that lake. The water stirs, ripples form, and the once peaceful surface becomes chaotic and restless. This is what happens when we allow our hearts to become burdened with the pain of heartbreak. It's easy for our minds to get caught in the storm of emotions, and we forget that peace is possible. But there is a way to return to the calm, to the stillness, through meditation. Meditation is not about emptying the mind or pushing away thoughts. It's about allowing them to come and go without becoming attached to them. When you sit quietly, close your eyes, and breathe deeply, you create space for yourself. You create a space where you can observe your emotions without judgment, without the need to react. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your feelings. You are the observer, the stillness beneath the waves. When your heart has been broken, meditation can become a powerful tool for healing. It helps you to reconnect with your true self, the part of you that is beyond the pain. The pain you feel is real, but it does not define you. Through meditation, you can learn to sit with the discomfort, to breathe through the sadness, and to let go of the attachment that causes the suffering. In Buddhism, meditation is seen as the path to inner peace. It's through meditation that we learn to quiet the mind and allow the heart to heal. One of the most powerful meditation practices is simply focusing on the breath. When we focus on our breath, we come into the present moment. Our worries, fears, and heartache cannot exist in the present moment. They belong to the past, to the future, but not to right now. And when we focus on the breath, we bring ourselves back to the present, back to the stillness where healing can begin. To meditate, find a quiet space. Sit comfortably with your back straight and your hands resting on your lap. Close your eyes gently and take a deep breath in. Feel the air filling your lungs, and then slowly exhale, releasing any tension in your body. Continue to focus on your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest with each inhale and exhale. If your mind begins to wander, gently bring your attention back to your breath. There is no need to judge yourself for distractions. Just notice them and return to the present moment. At first, it may seem difficult. Your mind may feel too noisy, too full of thoughts and worries. But this is completely normal. In fact, it is the very nature of the mind to wander. The key is not to resist or fight the thoughts, but to acknowledge them without attachment. When you do this, you begin to create a space where peace can exist, even in the midst of chaos. As you practice meditation regularly, you'll begin to notice changes in how you respond to your emotions. You'll find that you no longer need to hold on to your pain so tightly. You'll begin to experience moments of stillness where your heart can breathe and your mind can rest. You'll realize that, like the waves on the lake, your emotions will come and go, but the stillness underneath is always there, waiting for you to return. Meditation is also a practice of self-compassion. When you meditate, you are giving yourself permission to be kind to yourself, to be patient with your healing process. You are allowing yourself the time and space to recover without judgment or pressure. In a world that often tells us to move on quickly and to get over it, meditation offers us the wisdom to slow down and take the time we need to heal. In Buddhist teachings, there is a saying, "You must learn to walk with your pain, not run from it." This means that the only way to truly heal is to face the pain, to sit with it, and to allow it to transform. Meditation is a way to do this. It is not about avoiding the pain of heartbreak, but about embracing it with awareness and understanding. The pain is part of your journey, but it is not the whole of your journey. Through meditation, you can learn to live with it, to grow through it, and to emerge stronger on the other side. One meditation technique that can be particularly helpful when you are healing from heartbreak is known as loving-kindness meditation. In this practice, you direct kind and loving thoughts toward yourself and others. Start by sitting quietly and focusing on your breath. Then, silently repeat phrases such as, "May I be happy," "May I be healthy," "May I be at ease." Feel the warmth of these words as you send them to yourself. Once you've offered this kindness to yourself, expand your thoughts to others, your family, your friends, even those who have hurt you. Send them the same wishes of happiness, health, and ease. This practice helps to open the heart, softening the anger and resentment that may have taken root. It helps you to release the grip of hurt and replace it with love and compassion. Another meditation technique that can aid in healing is mindful breathing. In this practice, you focus solely on the sensation of your breath as it enters and leaves your body. When your mind begins to wander, gently bring it back to the breath. This simple act of returning to the present moment helps you let go of the past and the future, anchoring you in the here and now. It reminds you that, like the breath, everything is temporary. The pain you feel today will not last forever. By focusing on your breath, you remind yourself that peace is always available to you. Through regular meditation practice, you begin to cultivate a deeper sense of awareness. You become more in tune with your thoughts and emotions, and you learn to respond with kindness instead of reactivity. When heartbreak strikes, meditation can be a refuge, a place of calm where you can find solace amidst the storm. It's not about avoiding pain, but about learning to navigate it with grace and wisdom. As you continue on your healing journey, remember that meditation is not a quick fix. It is a practice that takes time and patience. Just as you wouldn't expect a tree to grow overnight, you must give yourself the time and space to heal. Trust that with each breath, with each moment of stillness, you are moving closer to the peace and healing you seek. So, the next time you feel overwhelmed by the pain of heartbreak, remember that meditation is always there for you. You don't need to face this journey alone. With each practice, you are returning to yourself, to the stillness that resides within. And in that stillness, you will find the strength to heal, to grow, and to love again. Mindfulness, living in the present moment. When we experience heartbreak, it often feels as though our minds are trapped in the past, replaying the painful moments over and over again. We think about what went wrong, why it happened, and how it could have been different. It's as if the mind refuses to let go, keeping us tethered to that moment of pain. We live in the past, reliving it in our thoughts, but the present moment slips by unnoticed. But what if there was a way to free ourselves from this cycle? What if we could find peace, not by changing the past, but by simply being present in the here and now? This is where mindfulness comes in. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention to the present moment, without judgment. It's about being fully aware of what is happening in our lives right now, without being consumed by thoughts of the past or worries about the future. When we practice mindfulness, we stop trying to change the past or control the future. Instead, we simply experience life as it is, in this very moment. The Buddha taught that suffering arises when we cling to the past or worry about the future. Our thoughts can take us away from the present, causing us unnecessary pain. But the present moment is all we truly have. It is where life unfolds, where we can find peace, and where we can begin to heal. To practice mindfulness, we must first become aware of our thoughts. Often, we are so caught up in them that we don't even notice when we're lost in the past or future. By observing our thoughts without judgment, we can begin to recognize when they are leading us away from the present. And when we catch ourselves drifting, we gently guide our focus back to the here and now. For example, if you're sitting quietly, breathing in and out, notice the sensation of the air as it enters and leaves your body. Feel the weight of your body against the ground. Listen to the sounds around you. These small moments of awareness can bring you back to the present and help calm the mind. When we experience heartbreak, it's natural for the mind to race. We might replay conversations, relive moments of pain, and wonder about what could have been. These thoughts are like waves in the ocean, constantly rising and falling. But just as the ocean waves are impermanent, so too are our thoughts. They come and go. By practicing mindfulness, we can learn to watch them without getting swept away. Imagine that you're standing by the edge of a river. The water flows swiftly by, carrying with it leaves, branches, and other debris. But instead of trying to stop the water or chase after the leaves, you simply stand and watch. You notice how the water moves, how it swirls around obstacles, and how it eventually passes by. Your thoughts are like that water. They come and go, and if you don't try to hold on to them, they will pass. This doesn't mean we ignore our pain or pretend it doesn't exist. Mindfulness helps us face our feelings directly, without judgment. When we experience pain, we can acknowledge it. We can say, yes, this hurts. Yes, I'm feeling sadness. But instead of allowing those feelings to consume us, we let them come and go. We do not hold on to them. We let them flow through us, just like the river. In Buddhism, this is called impermanence, the understanding that everything changes. Our pain, like all emotions, is temporary. By practicing mindfulness, we can see that even in our darkest moments, there is a flicker of light. Even in the midst of sorrow, there is the potential for peace. The Buddha also taught that mindfulness helps us cultivate compassion. When we are mindful, we are not only aware of our own thoughts and feelings, but we also become more aware of the world around us. We become more sensitive to the suffering of others, and in turn, we develop a deeper sense of empathy and kindness. Mindfulness helps us connect to others in a meaningful way, without being distracted by our own pain. When your heart feels heavy with sorrow, mindfulness can be your anchor.